Let's hear it directly from them. Energy Secretary Chris Wright is here, and Administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency, Lee Zeldin. Welcome to both of you. Mr. Administrator, we'll have you kick us off first here. So what is the move here?
EPA is proposing to rescind the 2009 Obama EPA endangerment finding to eliminate all of the greenhouse gas emissions regulations that followed, including electric vehicle mandates, which amounts to $1 trillion worth of savings. And on top of it, that much hated start-stop technology, EPA is also proposing to eliminate that off-cycle credit that incentivized it. As you just mentioned, if finalized, this amounts to the largest deregulatory action in the history of the United States, thanks to President Trump, the Trump mandate, and the American people.
Well, as it's described in our Fox News editorial, this announcement, Mr. Secretary, drives a dagger into the heart of the climate change religion. Straight into the Obama climate change agenda it goes. So what is the goal here, and what will the overall impact be?
The goal is to restore confidence in science and data and rationalism. That's what enabled the creation of modern science. Then we slid back into sort of a cancel culture, Orwellian squelching of science and talking about the science as opposed to the process that is science. So at the Department of Energy, we released a report, which is sort of a critical overview of what do we know today about climate science, about climate data, and what impacts that might have on the American people. We're releasing that report for public comment and feedback from anyone and everyone. But we need to restore some common sense around climate change or energy, because the net result of what we've been doing is just impoverishing Americans, shipping jobs overseas, and doing pretty close to nothing on global greenhouse gas emissions.
Mr. Administrator, how do you respond to the critics of this move, including the Center for Biological Diversity's Climate Transport Campaign Director, Dan Becker, who says these proposals are a giant gift to oil companies that will do real damage to people, wildlife, and future generations? Your response?
There's going to be a lot of hyperbole, scare tactics, extreme rhetoric that will come from climate zealots. Here's the thing. The Supreme Court ruled in Loper Bright and overturned the Chevron doctrine in West Virginia versus EPA, Michigan versus EPA, and other cases that an agency like EPA can't just decide on our own, that we are going to get creative with law, and where there's a vacuum and missing language, we're just going to make it up ourselves. We're not going to ignore the major policy doctrine. We're not going to go along with applying extreme economic pain on Americans who can least afford it. President Trump, when he first called me asking me to be the EPA administrator, to his last phone call to me when we last spoke, has been focused on bringing back and protecting American auto jobs. We want the American auto industry to thrive. We want to apply common sense. The American public demanded it. We want to make sure that cars are affordable again. And after the endangerment finding came out, not only were there all sorts of mobile source emission standards, but they also came out with trying to regulate out of existence all sorts of stationary sources. They started applying it to airplanes and more. We're talking about many trillions of dollars. Where does the authority come from? It came from the Obama EPA deciding very creatively, with a whole bunch of mental leaps, that they were going to just claim an authority that we believe, after a very plain reading of these Supreme Court cases, we don't have.
So is there a place for electric vehicles in the U.S. auto marketplace, Mr. Secretary? I just want to put up a share of the market that electric vehicles are today, and that stands at just under 8%. Hybrids are at 10%, the plug-in hybrids at 2%, but the gasoline market still is, by overwhelming majority, is the U.S. vehicle market at 81%. So is there space for the electric vehicles? Are you anti-electric vehicles? What do you want to see happen here longer term?
Restore choice to American consumers. This administration, we don't want to tell people what car to drive or what kind of shower head to use or what their hot water heater should look like. We want Americans to choose and businesses to compete to serve them. That's how you drive improvement. That's how you better people's lives.
Okay, so, Mr. Administrator, I'll finish up with this. Obviously, the courts would have to uphold this repeal. Do you believe that would happen? And if they did uphold the repeal, would it be easier for the EPA then to come in and undo a lot more of the Biden-Obama era climate rules?
So first off, we're going to be able to go through this entire process where we're going to go out to public comment now. There will be a 45-day comment period. The proposed rule has over 300 pages in it. And what's clear in the proposed rule, that this proposal only relates to rescinding the endangerment finding, the greenhouse gas standards on vehicles. I've mentioned the start-stop technology and those off-cycle credits. There are all sorts of other regulations. I can't prejudge the outcome of this rulemaking, and we're not announcing today what might be next of any future regulations. As far as interpreting where the court is, I think it's very easy. Just like I did, I would encourage the audience to read the U.S. Supreme Court decisions in Loper Bright and Michigan versus EPA, West Virginia versus EPA, and others. It's clear.
Got it. We really appreciate both of you coming on at that Indiana facility there. It's a big announcement, and glad we could have you both on here today. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sandra.
All right.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, of course.